Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. The Guardian have reported this, I should say, and the government seem to be flip-flopping now between whether to use gas boilers or use air source heat pumps moving forward. So we'll go with this article. We'll go with this headline: "Plan to replace gas boilers with heat pumps should be reviewed," says Michael Gove. Now, this all screams of a government that's in complete limbo, that really has no idea, or has actually started to wake up and realize that all this eco nonsense moving forward is really going to do a lot of damage to a lot of people. What do I mean by that? Well, we'll go through the article, but point being that all this eco drive to, heat pump this and environmentally friendly this, but it's okay for some housing stock here in the UK, but for a lot of housing stock, it's just not suitable for a number of reasons. Now, for those of you that are familiar with UK housing stock, you are going to be very familiar with Lancashire, Yorkshire, most parts of the country where you've got these rows and rows and rows of terraced houses. You know the ones I mean, 2 up, 2 down. For those of you a bit further afield that are not overly familiar with UK housing stock, you've probably seen on Google Images or something these rows and rows of houses up and down the country. They're not incredibly wide, and they're very old. They're very old homes used for workers, basically, back in the day, and they make great places to live nowadays as well. But you'll probably know the images I'm talking about: rows and rows and rows of houses, basically. Now, with heat source pumps, the challenges you've got with heat source pumps are that they do require a lot of room. So on these rows and rows of terraced houses, it's pretty much impossible to fit them. Why? Because people don't always have front gardens. Some people don't have rear gardens. Some people don't have gardens at all. And even when they do, some of these houses are not very wide. And there are planning regulations with air source heat pumps. It means that you're not meant to have a heat source pump within a metre of a party wall or a boundary. So that makes things quite complicated. Also, with these rows and rows of terraced houses, they're either normally solid brick walls, or they are, might be made of granite, various types of stone, which means they're not very energy efficient in the first place. And trying to run a heat pump around them is just not good. It's just not going to happen, basically. Now, we could have said that months ago. We could have said that years ago, that we know from the fabric of these sorts of types of homes that putting heat source pumps in them is not going to work. What's the best option for these homes? Well, if you've got a mains gas connection, having a mains gas boiler, whether it's a regular boiler with an immersion tank or a condensing combi boiler or any sort of boiler, it's going to be much better for the home. It's much better for the people living in the homes. But you don't need to replace them with heat pumps. Anyway, that's probably a whole different podcast. But the point being, Michael Gove has said that plans to replace gas boilers with heat pumps should be reviewed. Note the word should. Doesn't mean it will get reviewed, but it should be reviewed. This is common sense, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'm sure it will be met with uproar from the environmentally friendly people that we have to have everything run on off of electric, which, by the way, is at the moment powered by, funnily enough, gas, oil, and coal. Figure that one out. But apparently Britain's plans to ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars by 2030. Those plans are immovable, but it is time to review proposals for homeowners to replace gas boilers with heat pumps. He was asked on Times Radio recently whether petrol and diesel ban was an immovable target. He said yes, but on the question of targets to install heat pumps in new homes, he did say that it's an area I do think we need to review. So it's important that new homes meet zero net standards, but one of the challenges that we have is with our existing housing stock. It's exactly what I've just said about being solid brick or stone build. Once these homes are built, there's not really a lot you can do with them. You can go and insulate them and do internal or external wall insulation. Yes, you could. That costs a lot of cash. And a lot of people, if you gave people the option of having to pay for £10,000 worth of wall insulation, or going on holiday for £10,000, I guarantee to you most people would rather go on holiday and use their hard-earned savings to then go on holiday. The flip side of that is if the government turns around and says, yes, we are going to help fund all of these energy efficiency measures, where's that cash coming from? It's coming from your future taxes. It's going to come in the form of inflation, because the government is going to have to print a lot of cash in order to subsidize all this work being done. So that will lead to more inflation. That's bad for you. It's bad for me. It's bad for the country in the long run. And again, that will be paid for with your tax. So we've got to think about these things on a macro level as well. It's not just, oh, yeah, save the environment, do this, must do it under the guise of climate change. How on earth do you pay for this sort of stuff? So it might all sound like a good idea, but there you are. That's why Just Stop Oil make me laugh. Because if you gave them the tax bill, or even if you gave them the £7.7 million bill from the Metropolitan Police for having to deal with their crap, if you gave them the tax bill, I'm sure they wouldn't approve of it. So all these environmental ideas might sound okay until someone gets a bill. And the people that are going to get the bill is going to be you. It's going to be in the form of taxes. So there you are. The key line here, going back to this article, is it is important that new homes meet net zero standards, but one of the challenges that we have is with our existing housing stock. So yes, absolutely, we're going to have this issue in the UK. The answer really isn't heat source pumps. It is insulating the homes properly, and that comes with got to find a lot of cash from somewhere, because these measures have got to be funded, and people might not want this stuff done. And trying to force air source heat pumps down people's throats is not going to help either. In your typical rows and rows of terraced homes, the best thing you can have is mains gas. It really is. It just is. It's mains gas is the most efficient form of heating that you can have on those types of homes. And if you're in a place where, unfortunately, you've got bulk gas or you've got oil, then so be it. Unfortunately, that is the case. Again, heat source pumps aren't going to work for everyone. There is not a one solution fits all with UK housing stock. There's just not. With newer builds, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want, fine. With older style homes, and a lot of homes we have in the UK are going to be late Victorian, era. So I don't know, anywhere between 1870 and 1901, technically, or even the first, even up to 1910, which would be Edwardian, and maybe very what I like to call late Georgians, maybe between 1910 and 1930. This is when a lot of homes in the UK were built, and there's not a lot we can do about it. But it's good to see that they suggest that the plan to replace gas boilers with heat pumps should be reviewed. Let's not hold our breath. Doesn't mean it's going to get reviewed, but it's probably a step in the right direction, because I think people are starting to wake up and realize that there is not a one size fits all solution here, to be perfectly honest with you. And the more people that realize that, the better. As usual, please like us on YouTube, press that notification bell thingy below to be alerted when new videos pop up. Share this message with as many people as you can. And if you haven't listened to the podcast, please do go over to iTunes, Spotify, etc. Find Property Nomads, and you will find all our other content on there as well. Until next time, see you in the next video.